بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم كن لوليك حجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا يا مدبر الأمور يا باعث من في القبور يا مجري البحور يا ملين الحديد لداود صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بنا ما أنت أهله في الدين والدنيا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
السلام علیکم مومنین کرام، آج سیٹرڈے سحر مجالس کی تیسری مجلس کا انعقاد ہونے جا رہا ہے. دوائے امام زمانہ سے اس کی شروعات ہو چکی ہے اور وقت کی کمی کے پیش نظر آج سلام نہیں ہوگا، بلکہ شبیر بھائی کو میں دعوت دوں گا کہ مرثیہ خوانی کے لیے اور ان کے ساتھیوں کو، اور اس کے بعد قبلہ مولانا سید باقر رضوی صاحب جو سوالات ہیں ان کے جوابات دیں گے، اس پر مجلس سے خطاب فرمائیں گے. بار دیگر بلند تر صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد.
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بار دیگر صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. علی کی بیٹیاں زندہ میں جب اسیر ہوئیں، علی کی بیٹیاں زندہ میں جب اسیر ہوئیں، رسول زادیاں حاکم کی دستگیر ہوئیں، رسول زادیاں حاکم کی دستگیر ہوئیں. مصیبت غم شاہ پر کثیر ہوئی غم حسین میں سیدانیاں فقیر ہوئی غم حسین میں سیدانیاں فقیر ہوئیں کئی دنوں سے میسر نہ عبدانہ تھا ارے کئی دنوں سے میسر نہ عبدانہ تھا اندھیری رات تھی ٹوٹا سا قید خانہ تھا اندھیری رات تھی ٹوٹا سا قید خانہ تھا علی کی بیٹیاں بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد
سورہ فاتحہ بر محمد وآل محمد صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل
محمد
جب کہ دربار میں ناموں سے پیمبر آئے جب کہ دربار میں ناموں سے پیمبر آئے بال کھولے ہوئے بے مقنا و چادر آئے سر کے بالوں سے چھپائے رخ انوار آئے بیڑیاں تھامے ہوئے عابد مضطر آئے بیڑیاں تھامے ہوئے عابد مضطر آئے سخت آفت میں گرفتار وہ سب خوش خوتے ریسماں ایک تھی اور آہ کئی بازو تھے ریسماں ایک تھی اور آہ کئی بازو رسنے ظلم سے چلتے تھے یتیموں کے گھر سہم جاتے تھے کشاکش میں وہ نازوں کے پلے مائیں آفت میں گرفتار تھی کیا زور چل رو کے دیکھا کبھی عابد کو کبھی ہاتھ ملے رو کے دیکھا کبھی عابد کو کبھی ہاتھ ملے شمر کہتا تھا کہ حاکم کا غضب آئے قیدیوں میں کوئی رویا تو سزا پائے قیدیوں میں کوئی رویا تو سزا پائے شمر کو دیکھ کے بولا وہ علی کا دشمن کھول دے قیدیوں کی گردن رازو سے رس جب چھٹی بند رسن سے وہ گرفتار مان تب سکینہ نے لیا کرتے کا منہ پر دام تب سکینہ نے لیا کرتے کا منہ پر باپ کے غم میں دل زار جو تن میں تڑپا ایسی روئی کے سرے پاک لگن میں تڑپا ایسی روئی کے سر پاک لگن میں
تڑپا
بولا حاکم کے نہایت ہے تجھے باپ کی تخت سے نیچے یہ کیا تشت میں ہے کر تو نگاہ پاس جا کر جو لگی دیکھنے بانا لو خون میں ڈوبا ہوا اس کو نظر آیا سر خون میں ڈوبا ہوا اس کو
نظر آیا
تشت پر گر کے پکاری کہ یہ حال آپ کا لو پھوپھی جان یہی سر تو میرے باپ کا لو پھوپھی جان یہی سر تو میرے باپ گود میں لے کے سر ابن علی چلا ان کھلی آنکھوں کے قربان تمہاری جائے ایسے بھولے کہ نہ بیٹی بھی تمہیں یاد آئی اتنی مدت میں یہ کیا شکل مجھے دکھلائی اتنی مدت میں یہ کیا شکل مجھے دکھلائی کیا خاموشی ہے لب لال تو کھولو بابا کیا غضب ہو گیا کچھ منہ سے تو بولو بابا کیا غضب ہو گیا کچھ منہ سے تو بولو تیر اس چاند سے ماتھے پہ لگایا کس حلق پر خنجر بیداد پرایا کس خون اس گردنے نازک کا بہایا کس چھوٹے سے سن میں مجھے تم سے چھوڑایا کس چھوٹے سے سن میں مجھے تم سے چھوڑایا کس نے اما سر پیٹتی ہے کیا انہیں سمجھاؤں آؤ کرتے میں چھپا کر تمہیں لے جاؤں آؤ کرتے میں چھپا کر تمہیں لے جاؤں جبکہ دربار میں بار محمد وآل محمد صلی اللہ علیہ
اللہم صلی علی محمد جزاکم اللہ شبیر بھائی ذوالکرین بھائی باری دیگر بلندر صلوات اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد مومنین کرام کچھ اعلانات ملاحظہ فرمائیں نیکسٹ تھرسڈے کو یہاں پر کڈس اور یوتھ کے حوالے سے مجلس کا انعقاد کیا گیا ہے جو ٹھیک 7:15 پہ پروگرام سٹارٹ ہوگا کیونکہ نماز کا ٹائمنگ اب نزدیک آتی جا رہی ہے تو انشاءاللہ اسی کے ساتھ ہم ٹائم کو ایڈجسٹ کرتے جائیں گے نیکسٹ تھرسڈے 7:15 پہ یہاں پر شب جمعہ میں یوتھ اور کڈس کے حوالے سے مجلس اعضاء کا انعقاد ہوگا اسی طرح سے فرائیڈے کو یہاں پر دعائے ندبہ اور پھر صلاۃ الجمعہ اور صلاۃ الجمعہ کا خطبہ ہوگا وہ مخصوص 25 منٹ ادا کیا جائے گا تاکہ جو مومنین جاب سے آتے ہیں ان کے لیے آسانی ہو اس کے علاوہ آپ لوگوں جہاں اس سے آگاہ ہے کہ پاکستان میں جو المناک حالات ہوئے ہیں سیلاب کی وجہ سے خاص طور سے سندھ اور خیبر پختونخوا میں اللہ تعالیٰ سے دعا ہے کہ جتنے بھی وہاں پر مومنین ہیں یا جو بھی وہاں پر رہائشی ہے جو اس سیلاب میں متاثر ہوئے اللہ تعالیٰ ان کی اس مشکل کو آسان فرمائیں ان کو صحت تندرستی عطا کریں اور تمام مومنین سے گزارش اس سلسلے میں پیش رہیں اور جتنی بھی آپ ان کی امداد کر سکتے ہیں جس طریقے سے بھی کر سکتے ہیں تو پلیز اس میں بڑھ چڑھ کے حصہ لیجیے گا انشاءاللہ اللہ تعالیٰ آپ کو اس دنیا میں اور آخرت میں اس کا اجر دے گا انشاءاللہ چاند کے حوالے سے ابھی تک چاند کی کوئی اطلاع نہیں ہے اور جو ہی وہ اطلاع موصول ہوگی تو آپ لوگوں کے ساتھ شیئر کیا جائے گا بہرحال جو بھی سلسلہ مجالس کا سفر کے مہینے میں ہوگا اس کے پروگرام آپ تک پہنچا دیے جائیں گے ہم حسینی ایسوسیشن آف کیلگری کی جانب سے محترم قبلہ سید رضا باقر صاحب کا بے حد شکر گزار ہے ممنون ان کے انہوں نے ہماری دعوت کو قبول فرما کہ ان سہ مجالس سے اپنی بہترین سپیچ سے ہمیں مستفید فرمایا بہرحال یہ بدقسمتی ہماری کمیونٹی کی کہ جو ہمیشہ یوتھ کا نعرہ بلند تو کرتے ہیں لیکن جب ہمارے انگلش پروگرامز ہوتے ہیں تب وہ ان چیزوں سے ان تقاریر سے مستفید نہیں ہو پاتے ہیں اللہ تعالیٰ سے دعا ہے کہ ہمیں बेहतर तरीके से आपकी तकारीर से, चाहे जो ऑनलाइन अभी भी मौजूद है, पेरेंट्स और जो भी बच्चे हैं उससे मुस्तफ़ीज़ हो जाए। menti.com के ज़रिए से जो भी सवालात मौसूल हुए क़िबला को, वो इंशाअल्लाह स्पीच के बिगनिंग में उनका जवाब देंगे। तो जो लोगों ने क्वेश्चन किए हैं, जानन अनोनमस थे वो, तो क्वेश्चन के आंसर्स वो ऑनलाइन मौजूद होंगे, बहरहाल उससे आप इस्तेफ़ादा कर सकते हैं। मैं मुल्तज़िम हूँ क़िबला मौलाना सैयद रज़ा बाक़िर साहब से तशरीफ़ लाएँ मेंबर पर और मजलिस से ख़िताब फरमाएँ। बारे दीगर बुलंदतर सलवात। नारे रिसालत, नारे हैदरी, हैदरी।
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil faraja. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali ajil faraja. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. صلوات. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So we have decided to do this question answer session in the beginning of Majlis. So I got like 16 questions before the first Majlis, and after that I got only 2 questions. So I don't know how my Majalis were going because only 2 questions were added. One was the last one which I received today was the repetition of another question. So alhamdulillah, the questions are good, but some are not relevant to our topic and some are about the fiqhi questions. So I'll just ask any brother or sister who asked the fiqhi question to ask the Moulana here, or because I wanted to, there was in that kind of question that I wanted to answer them like on their level, right? So if they can go to Moulana themselves or anonymously ask him, then he'll be able to guide you the better way. So we'll start from the first question, which is actually kind of relevant to what we were discussing. So the question is, Salamun alaikum, alaikum assalam. If anyone has filed allegations against Mu'mineen with saying that they're extremists and supporting Imam Mahdi al-Salam, can we stay away from such person? So the question is that somebody is accusing Mu'mineen that they are talking about Imam Hadi and they're extremists and trying to do, the way people portray Shias or Muslims that na'uzubillah they're terrorists or they try to, wage a war or something like this. Now the thing is, if this allegation is coming from the other religion or, those people who are influenced by Wahhabi propaganda or other propaganda, then we need to guide them that what Imam Mahdi means and what educate them about the Imamat and Imam Mahdi and the concept of Zahur, concept of Ghaiba. But if it's coming from Na'uzubillah, from our community, inshallah it's not going to happen. But if it's happening there and it's just because they want to get you in trouble, then definitely stay away from a person like this. Don't give, if I were you, I wouldn't ask this person to come to the community and, stay with us. Because if he's accusing his own community member, own Shias, being Shia, then he has different intentions. So that's my opinion, but you can ask other Maulana as well. My opinion is this, that if a person was accusing you to be extremist and lying about you and saying that we are taking the name of Imam Mahdi to wage war or doing some bad things in the country we're living in or somewhere else, then he's just making some accusations. These are false accusations. These accusations were made before, even for Aimma alayhim salam. In time of Imam Raza, people would go to the Khalifa and say that Imam is preparing to wage war against you. And they will come to Imam's house and search the whole house. So a lot of false allegations have been made before. My suggestion is to stay away from a person like this. The other one is about Ilm Jafr. I don't know about what Ilm Jafr is. I know it's about the adat, it's a valid ilm, but I don't know details about that ilm. And I think there is another question coming out of like this same context later on. So for that you have to ask the Moulana who is here, or ask someone who is working on Ilm Jafr. But if the other question, the following question was about this, that can you find and search or predict the future with Ilm Jafr? I don't think that you can do that, and because future is ghaib, the few things are ghaib, and the ghaib is just the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or anyone who he can give. And there's a reason Allah ta'ala has made the future hidden from us. There's a hikmah behind that. The third question is how to stop getting in peer pressure when there are both male and female who try to distract you. That's a really valid and really important question. The peer pressure is, as a matter of fact, not only in our schools, not only for our youth. Sometimes we, who are desis, we get into peer pressure. We can see in our shadis, right? We can see in our even Majlise that there's a peer pressure that we have to do things in a certain way. The best example was today, not to follow the peer pressure. You brothers said that you're going to start the Majlis at 7:15. There was nobody here. 4 people were doing Marsiya, and I was listening, and alhamdulillah, you did the Marsiya. So by showing this, you can omit, or you can actually challenge the peer pressure. For the youth, and I have only one youth and other brothers who are here, I think the suggestion is this, that as much as we can try to teach Islam to the youth, they're going to learn, but to implement Islam is really difficult. We cannot not talk about the elephant in the room, right? We're living in a country where practicing Islam while you are 60 years old is difficult. How can I expect a 20, 25-year-old in a college to practice Islam? So we need to make these Hussainias, these masajid, these centers, the hangout place for the kids. We have to have programs, and they should hang out here as well. They should spend more time in these places as compared to other places. There's the one way to take them out from the peer pressure. The other thing for my youth is this, that peer pressure never ends. You can keep doing anything what people like you to do, and it's not going to end. They will ask something else. You start dressing up like that, and na'uzubillah, one sister will stop doing hijab, they won't be satisfied even after that. They will ask you to do something else, right? So inshallah, have faith, make your faith strengthened by knowledge and by practice, and that's how you can refute the peer pressure. There's a question about dinosaurs and the relevance of dinosaurs. So, well, that's a scientific question. Dinosaur, they research, they have this city close by where they have the museum and everything. So yeah, I think they existed as biology says. What Islam has to say about this, I didn't do the research, but again, if let's say dinosaurs were present, it is not against the khilqat of Adam. Because in one of the hadith is this, that Hazrat Adam was created 20,000 years ago, right? Like at the time of Imam, so like 24,000 years ago from now. 21,000 years ago from now. So, it could be possible dinosaurs were there, and it has nothing against our, aqaid. As a matter of fact, in some hadiths they said that there were some makhluqat which were known as nasnas, and they were kind of giants which were created before Hazrat Adam. That's why when Farishte the angels, when Hazrat Adam was born, they were saying that we know what he's gonna do, because the other makhluqat were doing the same thing, like they were killing each other and doing fasad. If the evolutionary theory's result is this, that human beings, the problem Islam has with the evolutionary theory is this: if we think, or if they portray evolutionary theory in this way, that we are nothing but the one step higher than a monkey, so we are just animals, and that's different, because that's evolution of jismani evolution or bodily evolution, but not ruhani. Insan by ruh is different than animals. So Islam has problem with that, but with the existence of that, it's not gonna, that's a biological and scientific question and has nothing to, challenge our aqaid. I have 18 questions, so let's see how much I can do. Please say salawat. One question is about a non-Shia asked me, why do you do blood zanjir? Because you people do gham, but why shed blood? What would be the perfect reply to give them? So the thing is, doing matam is a natural thing. When you are ghamgeen, when you're sad, few things happen to you, and it is allowed to some extent for your own mournings, for your own people who demise or who passed away. But for Imam Hussain, the azadari is being said by our Aimma. It is like propagated. It was kind of it was put in the society, Islamic society, established there, so the message of Karbala could go out. Now we have to think that what things in Azadari can bring the people close to Imam Hussain and spread the message of Imam Hussain. That's a different discussion. Is Zanjir gonna help me in that? My personal opinion, no. Is shirtless matam in the streets gonna help me that? My personal opinion, no. It's not gonna help that. It's not gonna make people come close to Islam or Imam Hussain. And if it's a question regarding the hukm of Zanjir, then we have the opinions of Maraja, and you can talk to them, ask them. Another question about al-Majafar, which is I actually answered. Please recite another salawat. A Sunni tells me, where was the line of Allah when Fatima salamullah alaiha was getting attacked? What do I tell them? So I think we discussed this when we were doing some Masaib of Bi Fatima, that at that time the Imam Ali's position was to save himself, to save Imama. Just like it was wajib on Bibi Zainab salamullah alaiha and everyone else to save Imam Sajjad, Imam Zainul Abidin, to save Imama. So that's why Imam Ali didn't go out and fought with them. But in some riwayat it said that after when they did this thing to Bibi Fatima, he came out and throw them out. And kind of at that time, he fought a little bit. Please recite salawat.
Majlis Bulandar Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ala. A Sunni tell me whatever Shia people believe in is all constructed around lies. Everything is a lie. What do you think of this? Of course, anybody can say anything nowadays, right? If anybody say these things to you, you ask them for the proof. So alhamdulillah, we have books. We have the books of Tijani Samawi. We have Peshawar Nights. All these discussions are happen in detail. So if that person is just accusing, then in Quran it says when the juhula talk to you, say salam and then pass them. You don't have to get into their discussion because they just want to pull your leg. But if he or she wants to learn about Shia Islam and or have real questions, then this is our responsibility to educate them. As a matter of fact, it's our responsibility as Shia to know the real Islam, real Shia, and propagate them. Not like this that we have to go and, what you call this, they knock at the door, the Christian people, and then they do the tabligh. There are other ways to do tabligh, like people are doing tabligh online, they are talking to their friends. Any kind of tabligh is tabligh. The tabligh is important for us. But for those people who are seriously thinking of learning about Islam or Shia Islam. Then there's a question about when Prophet passed away, he was with his wife. Well, it is in their tradition, that's what they say. I think in Sahih Bukhari or their Hadith book or in their Tarikh book. But in our traditions, we say that Imam Ali and Bibi Fatima were close to Prophet when he was passing away. Is lying allowed if it's not hurting anyone and it's for something good, like solving problems or not letting family break? This is a really good question. So there's some mawaris, some places where the lying is allowed, right? For example, if I have to save somebody's life, lying is allowed at that time. There's another thing which is known as Toria. Toria is not lying, but it's like you're changing your position of answering the question. For example, if somebody said that, is your father home? And he says that I'm not home, you can think he can go outside the house and say he's not home. So this is a Toria. Don't do it because just you don't want to talk to anyone else. Tell them the truth, that if you are tired, that call later on, something like that. But Toria is jaiz. Lying sometimes is jaiz. In some mawarid, in some conditions, making two mu'mineen getting close to each other is jaiz as well. But don't do it like this that they know that you're lying, right? So you have to be like this that they get closer, not to think that you're lying just to make things up. But sometimes, for example, especially what happens, unfortunately, probably that's our Desi culture, that we don't do tarif of each other or praise each other in front of each other, right? We just say to someone else, you can say about this that this brother was talking about you in this good manner, and it's gonna make hearts closer. So in this sense, it's don't try to fabricate. There's a lot of things where you can make people get close together. But I think Moulana mentioned this, that, this is kind of a thing. Like when you talk about your wife and to make her happy, it's not lying. You can say, but don't say that you're just like a moon, qamar and this and that. So she will say that you're lying. But to make her happy, it's allowed to. How do explain non-Muslim to julus concept, especially the hitting part and all the blood on taboo? So again, it's the same question related to the zanjir, matam and all those things. The julus, first of all, julus is not a really difficult concept to know. There are a lot of people who commemorate, who actually have the julus in the different forms, right? I mean, they protest, they have ceremonies, things like this. They gather together and talk about things. So julus is like this. I think when you take the julus out, for example, the Arba'in walk, people would understand why you're doing it. But the way we are doing it, and the way that we are showing our love, and that's passionate love. The matam is a passionate love for Imam Hussain. But does it work in the streets of Calgary, in the streets of Toronto, in the streets of New York? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll suggest you have your matam and those things in the Hussainia, and try to change the model of julus. The julus which is accepted and people can relate to, right? When you see that when the protest happens or when they're trying to gather somebody's attention here, it's a different way. So if we are doing something ritualistically which is not making sense to a common person or even for our kids, then I think it's of no use. So we have to revise the way we do azadari here. Is it ghibat to tell your husband about your in-laws' behavior and taunts? Okay, yeah, this is a difficult question. I cannot say that ghibat is jaiz in this mawrid. Sometimes what happen is like, yeah, you know, when the zulm is done on you against zalim, ghibat is jaiz. But don't make everybody Yazid before you do ghibat of it. There was a marja, he said like, I would forgive everybody else who do my ghiba except for my students. Why? Because they are talib ilm. They're gonna prove that I'm a fasiq first, and then they're gonna do my ghiba. So don't try to make somebody fasiq or kafir and then do the ghiba. The best thing is this, and for like throughout, like across the board, we need to know how to talk to each other, brothers and sisters. Husbands and wives, fathers and sons, children and parents, in-laws and parents. Everybody needs to know that we can talk. If we have if we have some issues, we need to be able to talk to each other and solve it. If we keep the grudge inside our heart and just say, "Uski walda usko ye batati hai, main ye batati hu," what's gonna happen? It's gonna just build up, and it's gonna explode into a really bad thing. Yeah, but if they're taunt and this and that, I mean, Allah Ta'ala has given you the right of khula. Allah Ta'ala has given you right to say that, you know what, I cannot live with these conditions. So, I mean, not to be in a good books of modern sisters, but this is true. What I feel is this: in our culture, there's a dhulm being done for women. Women have no voice. This is my opinion. You can come and confront with me. Or not confront, like you can discuss with me. I think they don't have a voice. Have them, state their grudges. Have them tell you what is right. I mean, how do they feel? Because they feel intensely, and we are imposing the same rules and laws which we brought back from back home, from Pakistan and India. चुपचाप बैठ के काम करो, खाना बनाओ, रोटी बनाओ, और कुछ कहने की ज़रूरत नहीं है ना, ऐसे नहीं है. ऐसे मुश्किल पेश आ जाती है, फिर बिला वजह के ग्रज होते हैं, बिला वजह के प्रॉब्लम होते हैं. So I don't know if the ghiba is jaiz in this specific mawrid. Why do we not talk about mental health in our community? I just talked about, the brothers were there, some of the brothers, that yeah, that's a big issue. The mental health issues are there in our community. There. I just mentioned there's a incident happened in Boston or Massachusetts, somewhere probably in Boston. That one Afghani girl, she killed her father, her brother-in-law, his father, and herself, because there was a domestic problem. Her sister was under pressure by this person, and she posted on Facebook that that's what's happening. Nobody's helping her out, including my parents, my father, and he killed 4 people, including herself. And that's a Shia girl from Afghanistan. So these things happen. They are happening. We cannot just shut our eyes from that. We cannot just say, okay, हम लोग Shia हैं, हम पागल नहीं होते. No, don't say that. If you are going to a psychiatrist or psychologist or psychotherapist, that nauzubillah, it's a big taboo, right? कि ये तो मजनून हो गया, ये पागल हो गया, इसलिए ये डॉक्टर के पास जा रहा है. No, don't think in this way. Why? Because we are living in a really strange time and a strange land. We are living in a place where we can accuse others of all of my problems. All of my mental constructs are other people's problems. I'm not at fault, right? That's what this society tells you. And that's why instead of I'm pondering on that and helping myself mentally and spiritually, I accuse other people, and then I go to psychiatrists. I have a little experience working in a psychiatry department in Pakistan. All they give you is medicine. That's it. All they give you is medicine. So there are so many mental problems which could be solved by solving our perspective of life, our mindset, our spiritual growth. There should be a spiritual growth to, confront these things. But if you have real mental problems, it has to be addressed, it has to be corrected. Last few questions, please recite salawat. Ya Ali. What is the best way to communicate with a non-Shia, especially Sunnis, when he asks us why I am a Shia without creating any conflicts? So that's a really good question. We are not here to create conflicts. We need to be mature enough to talk about these things in a mature way. Again, if a Sunni or Ahl Sunnah brother, he is coming just to taunt you, just to pull your leg, just to say, you Shias doing this and that, sometimes not talking to them is the best policy. But teaching them what you believe in about imama is a good thing. We need to do it. How should we do it? The best thing is this, not to take names. For example, you say, okay, this incident happened and it's in your books, that's what happened with Bibi Fatima. I'm not saying who did it. But as a Muslim, you think that the daughter of the Prophet was killed, if it's written in your book, you hate a person who did it, right? I don't care who did it. I don't know. So you can bring them in and teach them in this way without, tapping to the difficult discussions. What to do if I broke someone's trust? I mean, you have to do